So hello everyone. Like I said, this is Ms. Judge Edwards. Um, you guys heard her speech during the opening. You should have your questions ready lined out. So I'm just gonna call on people to ask the questions. The first person I see is Leah Bailey. You can go ahead and ask your question.
Good morning, Leah.
Good morning. So what made you choose criminal justice?
Well, it's a long story, but kind of short. As stated in my bio and introduction, I'm originally from Selma, Alabama. So growing up in Selma, I was raised there, lived most of my childhood there. All of my family still resides in Alabama, except for my immediate family, my mom and dad. We relocated to Dallas about 34 years ago, but I grew up in Selma, and the history of Selma and the protests, the marches, having the experience living down south, um, hearing the stories from my grandparents, and wanted to be about a change. I remember a story in detail my father told me. They were playing kickball in the middle of the street, and upon the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan came through, which made them have to run into the house. And he was so upset because he was a young boy at that time, but he didn't know exactly what to do. And to see his older siblings run as well and fear for their life, it's always been embedded in me about justice. And I wanted to be a part of that change and bring justice to Selma, which Selma is a small town. And upon my relocation to Dallas, it was at first very hard. It was a big change and difference in my surrounding, but I was given the opportunity to take honor classes. I had no clue about honor classes and enroll into and be a part of organizations such as YG. Um, Growing up, that it fueled that fire to continue to do it. I always said that I would be a judge. I never really even understood as a little girl what that meant and the process that it would take to become a judge. I've always been told get an education, graduate from high school. But growing up in Selma, that was the end goal. You graduate from high school, you start your family. College was not in it. But once we moved to Dallas, I was given an opportunity to go to college. I received a track and academic scholarship, a full scholarship to Prairie A&M University. And from there, took up criminal justice, a minor in sociology. And so I always loved the law and wanted to be one of the people that made changes to the law because I knew that it was definitely needed. But as a senior, when I graduated undergrad, I had my first son. And so I became a parent. So it kind of delayed my education and I started working full time. But as I worked in the criminal justice field as the detention officer and probation officer, it became a point that writing the reports and giving it to the attorney to read to the judge and make my own argument, it was not satisfactory to me. So I wanted to make my own argument. So at first I said I was not going to go to law school, but probation officer, going to the court, seeing the judge, seeing the attorney's work, I wanted to be a part of the community. So I went to law school. And from that point, going to law school, I started my private practice. I practiced for 15 years, criminal law, family law, and a little civil law. And from that, it just, with the change in the atmosphere of Dallas County, the opportunity existed for me to run for office, and that's what I did.
Okay. So
asking
That's a great question, Adam. As stated, when you're a youth and growing up and your parents telling you that you're the best and you can be being an African American, as stated, coming from Selma, it was primarily majority African Americans, and that is what I was used to. So when I moved to Dallas is when I actually was in classrooms, competitions with other people. And so from that experience and from the things that my family embedded in me, it made me more and having to work harder to show myself and prove myself, which actually prepared me for going into law as an African American. I will recall an example when I first started practicing law. I went to Tarrant County Courthouse to represent my client, and I walked into the courtroom. When I walked in the courtroom, the judge stated to me, "Ms. Probation Officer, can I help you?" And I said, "I'm not the probation officer. I'm actually the lawyer." And he said, "You have a client you're representing here today?" And I stated, "Yes, Your Honor." And he asked me to go to the bailiff and show my credentials, show my bar card. And that to me was a slap in the face, how far we have come. And being an African American female practicing criminal law specifically, many clients, when they think about the courtroom and litigating, they believe the male counterparts to be stronger advocates for them. So I actually had a private practice for about 5 years on my own, and then I went into a partnership with another. She's sitting as a judge as well now. And we had a goal of opening up the first all women law firm. We didn't accomplish it because both of us took on roles as judgeships prior to getting it accomplished, but there were other young African American females, females period, that we were able to encourage to hang their shingles and start their private practice. So it's definitely the race issue, in addition to the gender issue. It has been evident in my practice, but I believe that when you work hard, you do your own research, and you really have a passion for the field, it makes you a better person, makes you a better lawyer, and it makes me a better advocate, because having facing some of those challenges, it gave me the drive to represent my client in a way that many males may not understand. Definitely in family law, issues dealing with the family, dealing with children. I represented a lot of children that were involved in the CPS. And once they were removed from their home, I became appointed as their lawyer. And so being a mother, it allowed me to understand the dynamics of the family and be able to advocate it. So those challenges that I have experienced being an African-American female, I think it has equipped me to make my practice what it was, in addition to me sitting on the bench at this time. The court that I'm sitting on, County Criminal Court number 7, I am the first African-American female to ever preside over this court. And I take that as an honor. So it exists. However, you are who you are. And the things that you work hard for, I let my work speak for itself. I do not allow the gender or race issues or discrimination issues guide me. I use that to encourage me to want more change. And as we see this world is developing, I saw last night that one of the first female, and actually I believe she's Hispanic, has been the owner of I think it's one of the hockey teams or baseball teams. But that in itself is big, to say that how the women are coming forward and becoming leaders in our community. And I'm looking forward to the actions of Vice President-elect Kamala Harris. And as we've seen in this past presidential campaign cycle, the impact of women in leadership position in Atlanta, Georgia. I believe her impact on Georgia was part of the outcome of why so many people voted, because she demanded it, she got out and advocated, and anymore that look like me to get out and do something. So that's the reason that when you have challenges and that exist with race, gender, or any type of setbacks, you use those to fuel your flame and you keep pushing forward. And that's what I have done.
Thank you. I appreciate your answer. I'll be sure to quote you on all that. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is Layla.
Hi, Mary and Layla. I was wondering, do you think the pandemic has affected people's motivation to achieve their goals? And how do you think this has been reflected in our local?
I think I got the first part of your question, Layla, the pandemic affecting those that have goals. And what was the second part? You froze up on me.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi has been acting up this morning. How do you think this has
understand.
been reflected in our local and state government?
Definitely, I can, from experience, share that it has made a major impact in our government. But the crazy thing is that we've been prepared for this. It's a fact of that many of our older generations, they're not equipped as you are. And that is where we're, as younger generations, supposed to go and help them. So definitely, like doing the campaign cycle, many didn't know how to get on Zoom conferences, didn't know how to register to vote because they couldn't get out and go vote. And definitely education is important. But I think through social media, all the changes that have been occurring before the pandemic, we actually was prepared. So I've seen where my son, they're more equipped to do this Zoom virtual thing than I am. And they've been able to teach me some things that I didn't know how to do. But I think it has broadened the scope of the people that we can meet and help, because not only, I know you guys are experienced not being face-to-face doing this, this event, and you're used to being and able to interact, but just looking at the big picture, how many people you're reaching on today that possibly, had the event been at one location, could not get there. So yes, it has been challenging, but it has its benefit. And when it comes to government, I think the pandemic, it brought a focus. The fact that it happened when it happened in March, it hit in March, which impacted the way people ran for office, the election cycle. As a candidate, getting out and meeting people, letting them know what your foundation is, what your platform is in the community. But we had to find other ways to get ourselves out. And so that's the same with all types of organizations, including YG. Your purpose had to go to the next level. So it has forced us to come together as a community, to come together as leaders and be creative on how we're going to represent and bring people into the fold as it relates to being educated, as it relates to being involved, because you can be an advocate, but if you're not involved and you're quiet, so having the opportunity to have your voice and your issues and whatever events you're holding to be publicly, being able to be Zoomed or through Teams conference, I think it has been a benefit. A lot of people have been able to get information, such as going to vote, about candidates that they probably would not have gotten had it not been the pandemic, because many, if it's not right before us, we don't act, we don't research, we don't go into it. But I know everybody's so tired of all the election ads and campaign ads, But to me, it was so beneficial. You met so many candidates. You were able to understand their platform. You were able to see them and see how they act from your living room, from your bedroom. You were able to be comfortable and really engage in what was going on. So I think the pandemic has forced us to be in this position to educate people more. So it's been beneficial, and I think that it's going to continue to be beneficial as long as we continue to utilize it and make it better. Because, you know, you have the technology difficulties, as you know, we just saw computer freezes. I've been in the middle of a hearing and everybody freeze, you know, but it requires us all just working together. So it's teamwork, make the dream work. So it's push not only myself, my staff and other courts around, other organizations to lean on one another. Even though we can't physically see one another, that passion that we have doing what we do, we're forced to be creative on how we're going to bring our communities together. So yes, the pandemic has been a challenge. However, it is some great benefits out of it as well.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, but next up, Sweeto.
Yeah, it's Sweeto. Okay, good morning.
Good morning, Sweeto.
How did your past experience in the Dallas County Juvenile Department really help you go through law school and have your own law office and successfully be a judge?
It helped me greatly. As I stated, it was my motivation, really. My fire had kind of dwindled out. I wanted to be a parent. Family is first to me, God first, and then family is first to me when it comes to my priorities. But when I made the decision to transition from being a probation officer, stop working, become a student again, it was big. It was a big decision. However, I wasn't I guess you call it a traditional student when I went to law school, because I had already worked in the field and I already had started my career. However, those things that I learned as a detention officer, probation officer, it helped me to confine my issues and my goals when it came to what exactly do I want to do? Where exactly do I want to make the impact? And so working with the juveniles, as I stated in my keynote, when I see a 10-year-old coming to the juvenile detention center, not understanding criminal justice, not understanding how their rights can be taken away from them and they can be confined, and even the difference between juvenile and adult criminal justice. When you're a juvenile between the age of 10 and 17 and you get taken away from your home and put into custody, no one can come pay a cash bond for you. The judge has to make the decision whether or not your parents can supervise you. That's the concern. Outside of, you have people in the adult system that commit murder, commit rape, and the cash bond may be high, but however, there's opportunity for their families to come, friends to come together and post a cash bond to get their freedom back while their case is pending. But that's different in the juvenile system. So when I was in the juvenile system, it allowed me to educate myself on the process, understand the process, and then becoming a probation officer, having the opportunity to advocate for the juvenile and their families to get them back home. And then, as I stated, being in the courtroom and working with the judges, working with the attorneys, watching them litigate. I was a court coordinator, so I sat to the left of the judge, and everything that went on in the courtroom, it was my duty to take down what had occurred. So doing that, I became familiarized with the process, how it works, what I need to do. So when I went into private practice, it was just so beneficial understanding that already. What you guys are doing here today, the hands-on experience, practicing what it is you want to do with the debates, it prepares you. When I went to law school, being a parent, when it came time for the summertime, I didn't have the opportunity to internship, which I think that is big. So once you pick your major, you go into this field, this is what you want to do, then mentorship is big and internships are big because hands-on, there's nothing like hands-on experience. So having that opportunity to do that, I think because I did intern, but my experience from juvenile in the court process, it still put me in a better position than someone who had no clue about what happens in the courtroom. And even as an attorney, I would meet clients and you understand you've been charged with an offense. Do you understand this process? They have no clue. So education is important. And I think those that choose this field should take the education that they have and share it with their communities, even if that person is not a person that's in trouble or in it, because even if it didn't happen to them, it can happen to someone around them and they're able to direct and lead them. And just as, you know, you got your agenda today and it said the dress code, many come to my court, they may have shorts on, t-shirts on, and definitely during the pandemic, being virtual, having hearings virtual, we're comfortable in our homes, but still I have to express this is still a courtroom and we're going to treat it as such. I've had people come onto the hearing hats on. I had one gentleman smoking a cigarette and we had to stop all of that. Like, even though we're virtual, there's still decor. You still have a process and you must abide by the rules of the court and the policy. So that opportunity to go outside the courtroom is not about the position. I heard all of the election campaign appeals for you guys on electing your new incoming people who are going to sit in position. But one thing I want to share is one thing we cannot forget is not about the position. It's about the person. It's about your character. It's about your integrity. When I ran in 2014, I lost. And it being the first time running for office, it was a beat down. I didn't understand because I worked so hard and I had so many questions. But after going back and looking through what happened during that experience, I realized I won because I won in a way that I gained so much knowledge of what not to do. So when I ran for the second time, I was ready. And then when we think it's time for us, sometimes it's not your time. And until you learn how to follow, you can't lead. Until we learn how to listen, we cannot direct. So the experiences, the challenges that you may experience on this journey to become whatever it is that you want to become, learn, listen, and then respond. And it will take you a great distance in your journey towards your goals.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Gabriella.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so my question for you is, what experiences have you had that have affected the way that you respond to certain situations, whether it be in court or outside of court, anything like that?
I will say life experiences themselves makes each of us who we are. And it is the direction that our decisions take us in. We may get off the road by making some decisions. I will share with you when I first went to undergrad, I received a full track and academic scholarship to Prairie View A&M University. Here I am, a freshman and a sophomore. I decided upon myself during Christmas break of my sophomore year to myself from college with the intent of moving to El Paso and attending University of Texas at El Paso. As I stated, coming from a small rural town in Selma, even matriculating through the Dallas and Lancaster Independent School District You know, I gained so much knowledge, but even here I am, a college student. I made a frivolous decision and I unenrolled myself, not understanding the impact, the financial impact, because there I had received a 4-year scholarship. Now, the reasons of doing it, when I look back, it should have been a different decision I made. However, I ended up enrolling to UTEP, but then I ended up taking out student loans. I had to work. I did not have to work at Prairie View, and other things, other factors, you know, contributed in. However, I learned from that experience about when you have to make a decision about your next step, your next goal, your next vision, look at the big picture. Because I could, and now I'm sitting on $100,000 loan between undergrad and law school that has to be repaid. I had a full free ride on an education. But maturity, through maturity, you see those things and you learn from them. And had I did it, I may not have been more driven to keep pushing towards my goal, because now I have a debt I must pay. So I need a career that I must be in a position to pay off that debt. But the decisions that we make in life are the decisions that's going to carry you forward when it comes, and those decisions are during hard times. You guys being here today, participating in this event, it just gives me so much encouragement to see over 600 students in one place trying to get the knowledge, participating. And now I know that you're equipped. This experience is going to take you a long way. And you need to share this event with others. And hopefully, if by chance we're still virtual next year, that you encourage others, and it'll be 1,200 students. But life experience itself prepares you for your struggles. But your struggles are what you allow them to be. They can impact you negatively or they can impact you positively. I've tried to, during my struggles, think of a way that even though it looks bad, I got to make this good. Because at the end of the day, I got to answer for it. So to answer your second part of the question, when individuals come before me, because of my experiences, I'm able to relate to some of them and some of their circumstances and why we're in this place. And because of my experience, I'm able to give them resources to help them get out. But at the end of the day, it's still their decision. Either they're going to do, many times as a practicing lawyer, I would go and, like I said, a 17-year-old never been in trouble. They just got popped with a possession of marijuana charge or evading arrest charge, illegally caught carrying a weapon charge. These types of offense go against their moral turpitude. And when they apply for a job, I know when people pull up your resume and pull your criminal background and they compare that, that can hinder you from being the best candidate. So it puts me in a position that if there's something else I can do without putting a conviction on your record, but you got to be willing to do it instead of taking your back time credit, because many want to take their jail time. They've been in there 10 days. They've been in there 30 days. They rather say, just give me my back time and I'm gone. But then as a judge, I have an opportunity to say, do you understand the dynamics of this? If I give you a conviction for this versus you going and do 3 months community supervision and completing a drug class, and your case will be dismissed, versus me accepting your plea, giving you a conviction, and then when you do click, or when it does click in your mind that your future is bright and you want to do something different, or you're ready to change your life, you're going to be hindered. One, you cannot apply for financial aid because if you have a conviction on your record, you don't qualify. Two, you move out of your parents' home, own apartment. Apartments will deny if you have a conviction on your record. So having that opportunity to understand, it has benefited me sitting on the bench as well. And I try to use that when I'm making decisions when it comes to punishment. So life experience is something, it is a gift as well that we must take and put it in our mind and think about, if I do this, what would be the benefit? If I do it this way, what will be the benefit? And at the end of the day, we are looking for great benefits. So choices and decisions are big when it comes to setting goals and pushing you towards your mark. So just be careful when you have those big decisions or you have those big setbacks that you actually take the time. And I love when I heard earlier your goal of listening before you respond. That takes you a long way. Listen, get all the information you can, and weigh it, and then make your decision.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sherry, I believe you are next.
Hi, my name is Sherry Lynn. I'm a journalist from Austin Academy. I just have a short question. What do you consider yourself to be, such as a judge or an ordinary citizen?
Could you repeat that for me, Sherry?
What do you consider yourself to be, such as a judge or an ordinary citizen?
I consider myself to be a servant. Public service is one of the best careers, I believe, in the world. Giving back. I believe that not one of us have gotten to a place where we are today without someone taking some type of interest in us and encouraging us and pushing us to move forward, to be better than them or to be better for ourselves. So helping the community is always something that I wanted to do. I'm a helper. And so I believe being a judge, I had to run for office. I had to get elected. The people had to vote me in. Being a citizen, I'm guaranteed that right by being a citizen of the United States of America. So therefore, it's my job as a judge to protect those rights of the individuals that come before me. But the ultimate title that I cherish, and that is being a servant. And I think all of us have some type of servitude that we owe, even if it's not to a big realm, to the public, to your families, to your friends, to the people that believed in you when you didn't even believe in yourself. And so giving back is priceless. It's priceless. So when you, from this experience today, share this with a friend who is not involved and you tell them all the stuff that you learned or you got to participate in, you're being a servant and you're enlightening them to want to be a part. If not YG, some other organization. As it was stated in my bio, I work with domestic violence, people that has been involved in domestic violence relationships. In addition to, I work with children, students that parents are incarcerated. And that is a big thing in the criminal justice system where, you know, there's a break in the family structure because you have an incarcerated parent and you're not able to get to see them. You're not able to get advice and direction from them. However, this program allows us, we partner with the jails and the prisons, and we take the children to see their parents. We provide educational tools where the parent is not able to mentor the students, and that makes the whole individual. What we all know, a person foundation is big in their direction. So if we were people where no one fed into you, no one encouraged you, no one supported you, then you can imagine what type of person you will be, the outcome, if you have no drive. But do we have leaders that didn't have that family support? We have leaders that did not have that encouragement, but they became leaders and then they made it a purpose to go out and provide service to others and give back because they know what it feels like to be poor. They know what it feels like to have parents involved in your life and want to support you in your education and want to support you as an athlete, come to your games. So it is our duty as citizens to where there's a lack, we should step in. So you don't have to be a parent of a child that you birth, but you can be a parent to a child that just needs someone else because someone is missing out of their household. So I see myself as a public servant. I don't even call myself elected official or of that nature. I am elected, but however, my goal is to serve the public, and I enjoy doing it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sherry.
Okay, thank you. I believe our final person is Cassandra.
Hi, I'm Cassandra. My question is, what advice would you give to young adults considering a career in law as far as what they'll see in the field and the difficulty they might see in school?
The best advice that I've spoken, I said it several times about those that want to work in the criminal justice field, any other field, even if it's not criminal justice, get a mentor, number one, foremost. And that should be something you proactively do if you haven't done already. You can see someone that is doing what you want to do or you think you want to do. Shoot them an email and just say, hey, I'm a student, attend such and such school. I'm looking for a mentor. This is not a person you have to talk to on a daily basis, but when you have those challenges, you can shoot them an email and say, what do you think about this? Or if you're blessed to have the opportunity to come and work with them and model them and see exactly what I was blessed when I stepped into private practice, being that I had worked in the field with probation and juvenile detention center, that I had met a lot of attorneys. So it was great to then, once I had my law license, to call them because I wanted to get it right. I wanted to do right, but we know you can't do it right until you're taught how to do it right. And a lot of times it's easier when you have a mentor that can tell you the downfalls. Had someone told me, many things, well, you're a judge or you're a lawyer, so you rich. No, that's not the situation. I remember practicing law when I first started. I ran tickets. And what that means is people would go to jail and they would contact a bonding company and the bonding company will bond them out. But the problem was the bonding company did not have a license to practice as a lawyer. So they would call and then the attorney would go post a bond. I had to learn in posting that bond though, all the proceeds of the money didn't come to me. The proceeds was divided between the bonding company and myself, even though I did all the work. So that became questionable to me. And so I figured a way to solve that. I would get my own clients that arrested for tickets. So I did not have to split my proceeds. So get out in the community, watching people that do what you want to do. It can encourage you or discourage you or make you make a decision like, no, I don't want to do that. Because if I tell you starting out as a practicing attorney, getting a phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning with a son, a 7-year-old son. And at the time I started practicing, my second son was born, so he was 1. And as a single parent, having to dress them, put them in my white Trailblazer, put a blanket on them and drop them to the jail while I go and get someone out of jail. But at that time, I was building my practice and by any means necessary. So it caused and forced me, but it gives me pride to remember those stories, remember those nights I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning to go get someone out of jail that's 45 minutes away from my house. But I had to do it to feed my family. I had to do it to pay my bill. So when you making decision to practice in this field or any other field, find someone that's doing it. Ask them to be your mentor. You don't have to know them. I probably prefer you don't know them so they can hold you accountable. It's not about friendship, it's business. And then if you're doing it right, they'll tell you. If you're doing it wrong, they'll tell you. But the mentors I had were able to walk me through the courthouse and say, this is coordinator such and such. She's a new attorney. Could you give her some work? And a lot of my work came from those introductions. So if you know what you're doing, you know what you want to do, find someone already doing it, connect with them, and keep them. And you know, of course, when we connect with people, we want to make them proud. And they are proud when they see you excel and they see that you have the passion. The one thing I would say, without the passion in this field of work, you will get burnt out. A lot of times the stats, the statistics about lawyers practicing law, many after about 30 years are not practicing because they are out of the practice, they burnt out, and they end up go teach or do something else. But if you're going to take the time to go through undergrad, go through law school for 3 years, and if you're practicing in Texas, take a 3-day bar exam, then you got to have the passion for what you do. As long as you have the passion, those days you don't want to get up in the morning and pursue it, just like a student. You have a passion right now because you're trying to graduate high school and go to college. That passion drives you when that alarm goes off and you got to be to school at 7:30 in the morning. That passion drove you this morning to be up on a Saturday morning for 8 o'clock Zoom conference for this event. So have the passion for whatever it is you decide to do and have your mentor, and it will take you far, goal that you're trying to do. As my information is available, I'm willing. Can't guarantee being mentors for everyone, but as far as having hands-on experience and the opportunity, please do not hesitate to reach out to me and come down to the courthouse. Come in. It's your courthouse. You should know what goes on in there, so that if your family or friend gets involved in the criminal justice system, you're going to say, hey, this is what's going to happen. You're going to go to court today. Happen. However, you're going to find out your evidence. From your evidence, you're going to find out what they're recommending from that. So most people think you go to court one day, you going to jail, or you free. No, that's not the process. But when we learn the process, we're able to educate others, and then that makes the process go smoother. So find your mentor, get involved, be involved with your school government, be involved in organization that deals with government, and learn what it is that you're supposed to do, that you want to do. So when it comes time for you to actually stand on your own and do it, you prepared and you're ready to do it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other people with questions?
All right. Well, my last thing I'd just like to say is that you guys continue to go be great. You're headed in the right direction. You're doing the things that you need to do to prepare to be our future leaders in during this unprecedented time we have right now. We need you. We need you more than you know, because it's going to come a point where you're going to be the one sitting on the interview panel or on the panel, and you're going to be the ones encouraging others to be leaders, because we need good leaders. We need good people that understand what it is that happened in our community and how it affects us. And we need people who are not afraid to voice it, to voice their concern, to demand change and ask. The last thing I will share with you, and I hope that you remember this, if you don't remember nothing else I said, your reputation is everything. Your reputation is everything. When you build a good reputation, even people that don't know you and they hear your name, they know that you're credible. You know, your parents always told you your name means something. No one else has your name. So when people hear your name, they know they can trust you, they can confide in you. That you're going to be loyal and you're going to get the job. Even if you don't win, still be involved and help the one that won. And when your time comes, you'll be ready to lead as well. Because if you don't help others, how do you expect them to follow you when it's your time to lead? And that is it.
Thank you. I just want to say how very inspiring you are. I mean, it's not
Thank you.
it's not common to see true good people out in your position, and I just want to say thank you and really appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Evelyn. This opportunity is very big to me. Dr. G, we ran track together. I don't know if she shared it with you all. She won state in the 800. I don't know if she shared that with y'all, but you need to ask her some stories about that. But we used to run, and Mondays and Wednesdays was our hardest workout. And our coach laid it on us. But we were talking about this the other day, that stamina that you build. So when you run up against challenges and obstacles, I never knew that those Monday and Wednesday practice would push me, but they have. I think back on those days when I'm ready to give up and ready to say, no, I throw in the towel, but those practices pushed, and she said the same thing. So if it's anything that you have that you're doing outside of YG and other organizations, but just for your own mental health, it will carry you far. Don't forget where you come from. Never forget where you come from, and never forget the people that help you. If nothing else from today as well, when you get through with this conference, your parents that provided this Wi-Fi for you, whether it was stable, unstable, messed up, or whatever, thank them. Thank them for that opportunity. Thank them for having you dressed professionally and being prepared to go forward today. And never forget those people that pushed you and encouraged you, because you never know. They may be your boss, or you may be their boss. All right, well, I hope y'all continue to enjoy your day. It is definitely an honor and privilege, and I hope this is not my last time speaking with you all. That, as I stated, I'm here, I'm available, I'm here to serve you. So if there's anything I can do to assist you, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you.